It'll take a second.
Hey,
Okay.
Rin.
Yeah, how's it going?
Good. Give me 2 seconds to just mute your stream.
Yeah, do what you gotta do.
How are you? How are you feeling?
Not good. Not good at all. But
Really? I wonder why.
that's okay.
Holy
It happens.
shit. Yeah, I covered your first video yesterday, oddly enough, and I was like, you know what? Does this dude have a Discord? I'm gonna have a quick nosy.
Yeah, I have no idea what. So
And,
my guess is that there's something weird with the roles where everybody can't react to the thing to accept them to make them verified. So I gotta fix that, and then I probably just like auto kicked you after some time. But trust it wasn't intentional.
Yeah, that's all good. No, it's all good. Don't worry about it. It's literally one of those. I'm like, you know what? I'm always looking for newer people to either have a chat with at some point or just cover content and whatnot. And I was like, you're going over it, and it ended up being like a triple combo of review react stuff. And I was like, okay, this is the world we live in. It's a Peace Goes world. I'm very familiar with Destiny's content. I've been following for probably about 9 years or so. So when it popped up, this wasn't surprising.
Mm-hmm.
First off, what's your main takeaway from the conversation you just had? Other than disappointment.
I'm not certain. So the problem is, so I do like the TikTok live debates and stuff too.
Yep.
And I was on like kind of a really high kick because I met this dude and we had a conversation about Trump, and he was a Trump supporter, but he was like kind of on the edge. And I know there's like the archetype about like the independent that's not a real independent. It's just a Trump supporter that doesn't want to bite bullets or whatever. But this dude
says they're essentialist, all that.
Yeah. But I scheduled a debate with him over that same topic, and then he messaged me like 2 days later and said like, "Hey, I actually don't really disagree with you that much." And then it turned out that he actually didn't end up voting for Trump, and that he joined my server, and now he's like, he's like pretty chill, and we agree on a lot. So like I was kind of riding a high of like having that under my belt, and that was like really nice. So I was going into that conversation the same way that I did with the original guy, and then it just like slowly devolved because Trump supporters like for some reason just can't grapple with actual facts. So I don't know. I'm gonna need a neutralizer to either make me hyper uncharitable or bring me back to center.
Maybe I'm not the best person to go over. Obviously, you can hear as well. I'm a bonger, okay, but I cover this a lot because I find it somewhat entertaining from a non-biased point of view. That at the end of the day, none of this affects my life directly. Sure. So I can just look into, read whatever needs to be read. You did offer a hell of a lot of charitability, and I might not be the neutralizer that you probably want at this particular moment, so I won't go too hard on it. And it's not that I disagree with most of the things that you said. Especially in that original video. I will be releasing a YouTube video of me covering it anyway, so if there's any particular point that you want to go over in the future, then by all means do so.
Sure.
My main contention is the amount of charitability, hoping that there would be an honest conversation in it, because I mean, as you probably know by this point from the conversations that you had, the TikTok debates that I've seen you go over and whatnot, no one properly wants to engage on the topic, which is massively frustrating. And it's a loop of frustration because there's no way, seemingly, there's no way of breaking that. And I'm not here to give you any answers as to how to do that. I mean, I've done it with maybe 2 or 3 people. One of them is now not a content creator, so I don't want to blow my own trumpet too much, but it is what it is. Sometimes it helps, but if it's someone who's just not willing to engage with what's being said, one example being in the original video that you were going over, I can't remember his name now. That I've literally not got the stream open.
The dude
guy
I
that
was
you
just
had the
talking
conversation
to, right?
with,
Yeah, the
was
MrWhyzGuy.
adamant that the question had been answered. Yeah. So Wise Guy said, "How many times do you want him to answer it?" She just answered it like 3 times. It's like, if that's the bar of the standards that you require for an answer, I don't think the conversation that you're going to have with them is going to be fulfilling, thought-provoking. None of it. It's just not going to happen. Maybe I'm completely wrong though. 100% tell me if I'm wrong, and you were able to take something away from that you can use in future conversations.
So it's okay. So really what I was trying to do there is that I feel like a lot of smaller content creators, because he's not, I mean, like, he's probably around my size. It's just that, like, they don't actually have the time as people to engage with a lot of the legal documents or a lot of, like, the actual facts of the matter, and they just, like, follow whatever they hear from Fox News pundits or the Daily Wire or whatever. So whenever I have these
Or X.
yeah. So
Or
whenever I
whatever.
have these conversations, I try and start it out with a baseline, so I'm not hyper aggressive, so it doesn't like pose them against me, and I just try and like say like, okay, well, here's what we know from the legal documents, here's what we know from the indictment, here's what we like know from testimony, and then I gauge the responses directly to me to see where that conversation is going to go. But I also like, it's also half like whenever, since you're familiar with Destiny, I'm sure you know this talking point, but it's the I'm not actually arguing with the person I'm arguing with. I'm arguing with this person for the audience. Yeah. So like they can have better talking points going forward. So even if it was going to be like super hyper uncharitable, that's fine. One, it gives me good content, lol. And then two, like, you know, audience gets talking points, and that's always good.
Okay. Yeah, because I did wonder whether you would bring up specifics when it came to any legal documents or any statements that have been read out, because okay, this is my black pill. I fully believe that they just have no fucking clue. Sorry, I don't know if you can swear on our stream or not.
No, you're good.
But okay, I swear a lot. It's actually awful. I need to tone down.
I do too. Trust.
I don't think that. Okay, that's fine. I don't believe that they've read these documents. I don't think they have any. I would almost go as far as to say any understanding of either how they work. They don't know how their own government runs, which is atrocious to me. And they just don't have any insight that can be offered upon any further than, I don't like this content creator for X reason. And sometimes there's not even an X reason, and that's probably just as frustrating. Listening to most of what you just spoke over then, it reinforced it in my head as like there's a certain level that you just kind of, I'm not saying you, I'm using you as a generalized sense.
Right.
I feel like you'd have to cut and just be like, you know what, this is now either a meme and I'm going to farm it, or it's not worth the charitability. This is going to turn maybe into a slight shouting match. And it did it a few times. I was there like, okay, this is obviously slightly more entertaining, but I mean, you aren't gaining anything out of this. And at the end of the day, that was the whole point of the conversation.
Well, I'm getting content.
Yeah, it's. Do you find it worrying that sometimes that's where our minds go to? Is that it's like, okay, this isn't a productive conversation. Nothing's coming out of this. Your mind isn't being changed. I think it was one of the messages that I put in your chat as well. I can't remember specifically what.
Yeah, like ask him what it would take to actually change his mind.
Yeah, there was a bit of info that it was over a statement. I actually think the statement does exist. I just don't think he was aware that it was a statement that existed, and it wasn't to do with the picks for the Jan 6 committee. I think it was the talking point afterwards. And I could just think of nothing else than like, if this did exist, would it change your mind or your perspective on it? And me in my head, I would, if I were to answer on his behalf as a giant assumption, bearing in mind it is an assumption, he would say no. And it was okay with this whole thing is mute and it's pointless.
Yeah, the problem is that, and I sensed this at the beginning, and it was kind of like a sigh moment, but the problem is that whenever I asked him, like, or whenever, I don't know if I asked him or if he just said it, it was like the only thing that could really change my mind on this is Donald Trump coming out and saying, I knowingly lied about this.
Explicit, yeah.
Yeah, it was like we later on, it was also the point of like, I said this directly to him. I was like, listen, even if he did come out and say this, like, you're denying explicitly what he had already said and just like writing it off as a joke. So even if he did come out and explicitly say, hey, I was actually openly and knowingly lying about all of this, he would be like, ha, what a jokester.
I may have missed it. Did you bring up the under testimony Giuliani said that it was his right to lie? Yeah,
it was the
okay.
That was towards the beginning, yeah.
Right, okay. Yeah, because I think I jumped in at about, I think it was like 20 minutes in or something like that, and I was like, I'm just going to hang in the background and note for a little bit. But yeah, what was the initial reaction to that? I was like, yeah, they can lie, but it's a Fifth Amendment right to lie.
So he tried to break the connection between Giuliani and Trump. So he was like, okay, just because Giuliani said he was knowingly lying, that doesn't mean Trump knew that he was knowingly lying, which is like obviously on its face absurd, but like I'm
guessing, did you do a small amount of explaining, as in to say, well, doesn't this show the mindset of Trump to then choose the people that he has around him, that he surrounds himself with?
Yeah, so the three main points that I brought up to that was that, one, it's not like Giuliani is a stranger, like he was literally leading the re-election campaign. Two is that he was firing all of the people that disagreed with him, so like obviously he's opening himself up to liars because he's firing everybody who says anything contrary to himself. And then 3, it wasn't just like Giuliani saying that he was knowingly lying about it and that's it. He also had people from the DOJ, people from the DHS, his like attorney generals telling him that this was all bullshit too. So it's not just Giuliani. It's like also the Georgia state legislators, the Georgia state investigators, the attorney general. Like, yeah.
Yeah, the web spans wide. Okay, I don't want you to read it, get it over and over again, because obviously just little bits that I've missed anyway, but it is what it is. Do you think you'll have a conversation in the future that hopefully will be slightly more productive? That's a stretch of a word.
With him or with anybody else?
With him more specifically.
Like,
are you hoping that he takes away info from your conversation to say, I'm going to revisit these thoughts?
Of course, because at the end I did recommend that he looks into the DOJ letter thing, which I think is the most damning thing around the indictments and everything. So obviously I hope he looks into that, but in regard to like future like debates with him, I think I probably burned the bridge towards the end. But I mean, if he wants to, he can, but it's probably going to go the same way because I don't think he's like an honest actor.
Do you think he would engage with those statements as recommended by you?
No.
Because personally I would just say no. He's
yeah,
not
no, I
do
don't think so.
He's going to take it. Yeah.
That's just more so for my own peace of mind because I'm an optimist. So I'm like, okay, maybe on the offhand chance that he does feel kind of gross for just lying that whole time, maybe he can, turn around.
Oh no, there's no self-reflection there. Like again, this
I like it. I do generally feel like it's super rare, but at the same time, I felt like the other dude that I was talking to that did end up coming around was acting dishonestly, but he just like it is true that people just don't change their mind like that. Like in debates, and this is something that people bring up against debates, is that like no one is actually willing to change their mind on the spot, but if you plant the seed, hopefully it can like grow into a tree of like doubt or whatever, and they do end up changing their mind, and maybe this will play a part in it. But like, I'd never expect anybody to just change their mind on the spot, provided with new evidence. That's just not how like human nature works, as much as I wish it was. So hopefully, and I've had this like interpersonally when I have like arguments with family members too. It's just like hopefully this planted a little seed of doubt. So maybe he'll know where to look if he does start to question shit like that.
Okay. No, that's fair. I can see the optimism. I can see it. I'm not reaching for it yet, though.
I'm fighting to keep it. To be clear, like after some of the I've been hosting those TikTok live things, and after the third person coming in saying, "Yeah, Trump's authoritarian," I just like it. I'm like, okay, well, I don't even know what to do here. I don't even know what to do now. Like,
where are you meant to like grow off of this? It just doesn't make an awful lot of sense.
Because
that video was hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I won't keep up a load of your time. I'm sure you've got. Well, what's the next thing you're moving on to?
I'm probably gonna read the at least like the factual findings from the House Ethics Report on Matt Gaetz, and then I'm gonna take a little break until probably day after Christmas.
Okay. Well, I hope you have a good holiday. I appreciate letting me jump in rather quickly to do a quick review on this. If you don't mind, obviously, the video that I went over reacting to MrWhyzGuy.
Yeah.
That will go up.
Reacting to Destiny
today or tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll probably watch it. Whether or not it's on stream, I don't know. But if you wanna, I don't know if anybody's watching, but I'll probably upload this. So if you wanna share where they can find you too, you're more than welcome to.
I believe I'm Rune Black on YouTube. I'm Rune Black Live on Twitch, Rune Black on Kick, and I think that's about it. I don't really post many other places. But I appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
It's gonna be some fun content for me to watch anyway. But I'll keep looking in the background, and I hope the reading goes well.
All right, thanks. If you ever have any disagreements, or if you want to do another debate review, or if you just want to chill, just let me know. And
sweet. Appreciate it. I will shoot you a message beforehand, and we can go over some shit.
All right, perfect. Thanks.
Cool. Have a good one. Love your face.
You too.